Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so I'm having to make a video today, doing something I really don't want to do for the time that I've got to actually come into what's still my studio for the time being till I move into the new one and make a video. This is not something I wanted to sit down and spend my time doing, but it is my responsibility to come out and do it. Number one, just to give an update in regards to TFP Network, but number two, to clear the air on some stuff because it's the responsible thing to do since people who were part of this network are, or were in some cases, were putting this sort of information out. Okay. So go ahead and get the elephant in the room out of the way. Stacie for Truth is no longer part of the TFP Network, will not be back at the TFP Network. Okay. We're going to get it to the details on why. Know this. I pride myself on being a man of my word. I cannot have people who cannot be trusted and does things like deceptive editing to smear other people be associated with anything in regards to my brand. Okay. If you do that, you can't be trusted. That's the same kind of stuff that CNN does. Well, what am I talking about? Okay. Obviously, if you've been following, I haven't really had a chance to promote this much since I started this. Launched the TFP Network towards the end of last year. My schedule has been absolutely crazy. Haven't had time to put a lot of work into it yet. I'm working on getting a new studio put up. Be moving into that. At the same time, I've had a crazy schedule in regards to my job. I'm back on third shifts again. You probably know this as well. Towards the end of October, me and the wife had a litter of husky puppies. So we've been dealing with that. We've still got 2 more to sell. Things have been crazy at the Anderson household. So I haven't had a lot of chance to promote the network yet if you haven't heard about it. But some recent stuff, and I'm finding out about this recently, but I guess it first came out a month ago, okay? Stacie put out a clip on her YouTube channel and her Odyssey channel in regards to Reed Coverdale, the naturalist capitalist. She took a snippet from one of his videos from months ago. She also sent this clip over to David Spurrier, the Radical Independent. Now, if you've been watching this show, I've had Dave on the show many times. I've been on his show many times. Me, him, and Reed Coverdale used to all get together and do videos. Now, him and Reed have not gotten along in some time. Okay? I'm not going to try to play guidance counselor and make everyone get along. If they want to ever try to see eye to eye again, we're all adults here. That's on them. I've extended invitation. I said, Reed's welcome to join the network if he ever wanted to. David is, the first person that hopped on board this thing with me. But I sent Dave and Stacie a message because I know Dave considered Stacie to be a friend. I said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but from what I've seen, this doesn't seem to be honest. And I'm not blaming that on Dave because I gave both of them the benefit of the doubt. Before I show you the clips that I'm referring to, and I'll let you be the judge on what you think, but I gave both of them the benefit of the doubt and thought maybe someone else put these clips together. And they sent it to Stacie. Stacie didn't dig into it. She put it up on her YouTube channel. She sent this stuff to Dave. He's using it. And what I basically found out was that no, Stacie is the one who put this together. Okay? But taking sound bites of someone's conversation to isolate the one phrase you want that fits your narrative regarding everything else they had to say about the matter, that's not honest. It's not honest. It's not genuine reporting. It is the type of underhanded stuff that someone like CNN would do. And you can't be an alternative to CNN using their same dirty tricks to basically create your own propaganda. You just can't, okay? So when I sent the message out, giving him the benefit of the doubt, I said, If you feel you need to leave the network over this, because I will still be associated with Reed Coverdale. Obviously, you two do not seem to like him. I still intend to bring him on my show at some point down the line. If he ever invites me back onto his, I'll be more than happy to go back onto his show. I haven't seen him do anything personally that I feel like he is not someone I want to associate with. You know, Dave's got his opinions, and I'm not going to tell Dave what to think or who to talk to or who he should like. That's not my place. It's not what I want to do with this network. Dave can have his opinions. I don't have to agree with him. You don't have to agree with him. If you don't like him, you don't have to watch his show. Just because he thinks something doesn't mean I feel the exact same way. This isn't a fucking echo chamber. I don't want this network to be an echo chamber. But I want things to be kept honest. And to Dave's credit, when I brought all this to his attention, he took the video he did last week down. Okay? But I'm going to roll some clips. First clip is the clip that Stacie for Truth took 15 seconds of and put up on her Odyssey channel and her YouTube channel. The same one she sent over to Dave in regards to the naturalist capitalist and an interview he did with a guy, I believe his name is Jose Galison. He had him on. He's been on Reed's show apparently a few times. But this particular video was titled Liberty Drama. And it was about some stuff from some couple within some libertarian circles who had some domestic dispute. The boyfriend admitted he did this and that. But I'm going to roll this clip. Let you hear what she put out there for the world to hear. We'll discuss a little bit, and then I'm going to roll an extended version of what was actually being said during that conversation, and then we'll just go from there.
I've seen on Twitter so far is that, like, he admitted it, and then everyone lambasted him, and that was it. But all he said was he put her against the wall. And I know everyone's going to go the old tired line of, like, there's no reason to hit a woman, and it's like Bill Burr said, you know, it's like, yes, the fuck there is.
Okay, so what you just heard, Stacie for Truth put out on her own channel, YouTube and Odyssey. She sent to David Spurrier. This is the clip he was referencing when he made his video towards the end of last week. If you're listening to that clip, you get the clear impression that what this guy's saying on Reed Coverdale's show is that it's okay to beat women. That there's perfectly legit reasons to hit women, etc., etc. She even put, I believe in as the title for this video, which is now unlisted on YouTube. You can't get to it without the link, but I believe you can still watch it over on Odyssey. Okay? But that being said, she even labeled this like Jose thinks it's okay to hit women. Okay? Now, you know, you be the judge what you would take from that clip, that 15-second clip. Maybe you heard something different from me, but if I'm listening to just that, I'm taking away from it. Okay, so Jose is cool with wife beaters. He's cool with men who would just beat women like, oh, dude, there's perfectly acceptable reasons to beat a woman up, man. What the hell are you talking about? That's what I would take from that, right? What do you think? So now that you've heard that, let me roll a more extended version, and we'll discuss on that one.
Put his, I don't know if his wife or girlfriend or what, up against the wall. And it's like, and that was it. That's absolutely it. And like, my thing is, I'm actually like very irritated with like, this is probably the one that like I take the most serious, and actually I'm like not just being like a shitlord, you know, hovering above the chaos, because it actually kind of irritates me, because it's like, this is like someone's life you're fucking with, and you guys are like, I don't know. It's like, I'm guaranteed there are probably some people out there who know more shit, but all I've seen on Twitter so far is that, like, he admitted it, and then everyone lambasted him, and that was it. But all he said was he put her against the wall. And I know everyone's going to go the old tired line of, like, there's no reason to hit a woman, and it's like Bill Burr said, you know, it's like, yes, the fuck there is. Like, I mean, that may sound horrible. I'm sure people get mad. Like, you don't know the situation. Women aren't these magical creatures that hover above us. Like, they don't just get to, like, I have no idea the context of the situation. All he said was he felt bad that he put her against the wall. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, have none of you guys ever been in a toxic relationship? Like, ever? Like, I'm not saying like I've ever hit a woman or that it makes it okay to hit a woman, but like there are crazy bitches out there, and like fucking like I don't know. I've had like even just play wrestling with my wife. She'll usually end up with like a bruise somewhere or something. Like we're just rolling around because I weigh like 100 pounds more than her. Just like if I play wrestle with a gorilla, I'd probably end up with some bruises. Like it's. I mean, it's just so silly because no one knows any context and they're just flipping out. And the way it started too was just accusations, like just straight from there, and that was it. Like there's never been anything backing up. And I don't know. I guess it just irritates me. Like I was talking before, I actually this isn't me being like flippant about domestic abuse. Like I actually think it's a very serious thing. I grew up in a house with domestic abuse. Like. I'm pretty sure I blocked out memories of domestic abuse because I was so young. According to my father, like he said I would come to his house with bruises and stuff. It's a fucking big deal for me. It's something that's really fucked my life. Like I've had a lot of mental health issues over it and stuff. Like I'm the kind of guy who just shoves that shit down deep and just like ignores it. And but I have like I probably had something akin to like I don't know if you call them like a fucking panic attack since like my early 20s, and it kind of stopped as I got a little bit older, but. Stuff has fucked with me. Like there are actual legit evil people out in the world who just beat the shit out of people for nobody, for no reason. But there also is a million different situations and we don't know the context. And like it could be he could have done some insane heinous shit, or for all we know, she could have been hitting him and he put her against the wall just to get her to stop. We don't know, and you know he could just feel bad about doing it in the first place, which is fair. I mean, even if it's unintended or.
Okay, so that clip had kind of a bad echo to it, but hopefully you gathered what was being said there. Now, go ahead and start from the top. There are people going to take, even still, what he said in the extended clip different ways, okay? Go ahead and get my stance out of the way. No, I don't support striking women, but I don't think he said necessarily he just supports doing that either. He literally said, like, I'm not saying I've ever done it or that I support it. To me, and I don't think it was a joke per se that was well received, I feel like the fact that he referenced Bill Burr's line from a stand-up comedy act, that he was trying to make a joke, honestly. I think that's... You're referencing what a stand-up comedian said about it. I feel like he was just trying to talk about it in a joking tone per se, I guess. But ultimately, you're going to have two groups of people that look at this different ways, okay? The first group is kind of like my friend Dave, okay? Old-fashioned type of guy. It's like, no, you don't. You just don't hit women. If they hit you, you walk away. Ultimately, I would say that's how I feel about the situation too. That being said, Jose does bring up a legit point there. First of all, the guy that they're talking about, from what you can gather, I think the girlfriend claimed he hit her, but he had denied that claim. The thing he admitted to doing was like putting her up against the wall or something. And to his point, if a woman came over and I couldn't get away from her and she's just striking me, punching me, am I just going to stand there and let her beat my face in? No. Now, again, the thing to do, walk the fuck away. Okay? But sometimes you might not be able to do that. And I think that is the bigger point that he is trying to make there, which is you don't know the situation. I don't know the situation. Reed don't know the situation. None of us know what took place in that home. Is there the possibility that there is a situation that could arise where a man would be justified in having to put his hands on another woman for self-defense? Yeah, it's possible. It is possible. Okay? You know, if you want to have the old-fashioned mentality, well, you just should never do it. Well, okay, I mean, but believe what you want. I'm not going to say you're wrong for feeling that way. But again, different people look at it different ways. There's a reason now when these domestic disputes happen, if the cops are involved. A long time ago, a woman could hit a man all she wanted. If the man hit the woman, they'd take the man to jail. Now, they take you both to jail 9 times out of 10. It's very, very seldom that they'll just take one party to jail if both were involved in a physical altercation. If both were putting their hands on each other, both usually go to jail. There's a reason for that, okay? You know, whether you think it's right or whether you think it's wrong, society looks at things differently today's world than they did in the generations past. I mean, again, you might not like that fact. You might disagree with it. Unfortunately, it just is what's happening with the world around us today. But the bigger picture is this. Regardless of how you feel about what Jose said, there's no way you can listen to that second clip and not take away from it that he is not simply condoning beating women. He literally said, like, domestic violence is a real thing. He went on to talk about how he had certain issues with being abused when he was younger. He's not just sitting here saying, man, you know what? Your woman gets out of line, smack her back into place. He didn't say that. He didn't say that, okay? You don't have to agree with what he did say, but be honest about at least what he is saying. You could bring up that he's referencing the Bill Burr line like, okay, you're out of line for that. There's no excuse. That's your opinion. You're welcome to have it. But to snip that 15 seconds and put that out there, Jose is fine with men hitting women. If you listened a little bit further, he makes it pretty clear, and I can only take him at his word. I don't know this guy. I can only take him at the things he says. Now, if he does things to show me he's a liar, okay, well then I've got reason to doubt the things that he says. Unfortunately, I have not seen that evidence regarding him yet. What I have seen evidence of is someone who was part of this network taking that interview, snipping 15 seconds of it, putting it out there in the form of a clip to smear people and slander them, basically. He did not say that. And I got news for Stacie if she comes across this video. You need to think about what you're doing when you do things like that, because guess what? That is some CNN type shit, just like I told you in the DMs on Twitter. I'm not going to stand for that here. I don't want people who use those methods to be associated with myself. But furthermore than that, you're not CNN. You're not protected the way CNN is protected. You realize that, right? That is a corporate news entity. They get the algorithm on YouTube. You don't. But more importantly than algorithms and views, they can afford attorneys. They've got money to afford attorneys out the fucking wazoo. You don't. If you're going to use those deceptive tricks, how many times have people floated the idea of suing CNN over that deceptive bullshit? Joe Rogan just floated it not long ago, right? Like with the whole horse dewormer thing. People have floated that idea a lot. You are not CNN. If you want to use those same techniques to push your own propaganda and to smear someone, there is nothing stopping the people you're doing that to, if they've got the means to do so, from suing your ass. And something tells me you don't have corporate backers from the DOD and Big Pharma funneling you money where you've got attorneys at the ready to defend yourself. So regardless of the fact you're no longer here, if you see this, you might want to keep that in the back of your mind before you do that to anyone again. And here's my point. Like I said, I know Reed and Dave haven't been seeing eye to eye. I'm not getting in the middle of that. I'm not the fucking hall monitor here. Okay? What my problem is people doing dishonest reporting, and they're going to be associated with the network I created to bring honest content creators together that push back against the system. And I got news for you. That type of drama BS, it ain't pushing back against the system. It ain't. It ain't. You tell me what's taking that shit out of context just because you think these are not the right people for the libertarian movement. First of all, wow. Okay. You think that causing a further divide, I guess, amongst these libertarian folks is how you're going to get the third party that's been around for all these years and still hasn't taken a seat in Congress, anything in the Senate, and the Joe Jorgensen campaign basically flopped this past year. And you think doing that is how you're going to reform and rebuild a libertarian party to be getting things done by 2022, the end of this year? Maybe 2024. What the fuck is the end game here? That shit's productive how? You don't have to like Reed Coverdale. You don't have to like Jose Galison. But if you want to make a video exposing them or whatever, fucking do it the right way. There's a way you can expose people with presenting facts. Deceptively editing a 30-minute video into 15 seconds just to fit your narrative is not honest. I've said it before. I said it to her. I'll say it again. That is CNN type shit. We are not CNN over here. No. We're not MSNBC. We're not any of these corporate news hacks. For that fucking matter, we're not TYT either. And don't want to be. We are supposed to be alternatives to those people. We are supposed to be the group that's coming out here because we're not fucking taking corporate money. We're not being bought off by people who want us to push propaganda and giving people the truth. We're trying to do something, at least I thought, with our channels to give people a different outlook. That's why the algorithms censor us. For fuck's sake, what sense does it make to be someone that doesn't have a massive audience, gets censored by the algorithm, and then partake in the same bullshit that we criticize mainstream media for? If you're going to partake in the same tactics they use, you are not an alternative to the mainstream media. You're a cheap fucking replica of them. You're a replica that doesn't have a budget to afford a nice set, to have 50 producers, and you don't get sponsored by Pfizer. You're a cheap fucking knockoff of mainstream media if you're going to do the same things they do. That has no place here at the TFP Network. I don't give a fuck who it is. And I also don't give a fuck who you're smearing. I can't stand Cenk Uygur. But if that had happened to him, not just Reed, because I consider Reed a friend, if you were using deceptive editing that can very easily be debunked to make a point about someone and to smear them, it could be Cenk, Anna, anybody. Whoever. Pick the person you don't like the most. You could do it on Nancy fucking Pelosi. I might not be as pissed because of who you did it for, but I would still say something. I would still say, hey, you don't need to be doing that, because that's going to be very easily debunked. And because you're part of this network, if people question your credibility, and I'm the founder of this fucking thing, and you're part of this with me, and I'm allowing you to make these deceptive videos and remain part of my network, people are going to question my fucking credibility next. Well, Lone Wolf has sounded like he wants to be an honest guy, but he's associating with people who are soundbiting clips, and he is he is promoting that as part of his network. Literally, Coffee and Nuance is a part of the TFP Network. Tom Coffee is part of the TFP Network. He was a member before Stacie for Truth came in. Stacie for Truth was the last member of the 4 that started this to hop on board. Tom Coffee was in before she was. Guess what? You know what, Tom Coffee, when he has been making his videos, and I don't know where he's been here lately, haven't heard from him in a while, so I hope Tom is doing well. I've sent out DMs, but I haven't heard anything back, so I hope everything is okay with Tom. But when he was making his videos, you know a segment he was running very frequently on Friday, something I enjoyed listening to. Fact Check Fridays. The guy is fact-checking the fact-checkers. Fact Check Fridays. Something my wife misunderstood when she first heard it as Fat Chick Fridays. I will never forget that moment. Me and Tom, when we've talked, have still laughed about that. But Fact Check Fridays. We've got part of this network fact-checking the fact-checkers. I can't have someone be part of this who's using those deceptive techniques to push their version of propaganda that ultimately is doing nothing but slandering, smearing, and causing division. For what fucking reason? You've got a beef with Reed Coverdale now in the middle of this libertarian inner circle relationship issues that is not your relationship. Like, what the fuck is the purpose here? As we say in the South, there are bigger fish to fry. If that's the kind of shit that you deem to be important to you, to misconstrue the words of other people to fit your narratives because you don't like them, and that's how you would prefer to spend your time with the content you wish to create? My buddy Dave's been saying it best. You're not fucking serious. You're not serious. Suicide rates are up because of what's been happening in the last 2 years. The homeless population ain't getting no fucking better. Wages are going up only because people are having a hard time getting people to come back to work. And some wages still haven't gone up. But whether the wages went up or not, guess what else went up to go with it? Inflation. So people still aren't getting a better standard of living. Big Pharma is still running amok. We still have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris doing everything they're doing in the White House. You've got this threat of mandates. And this is where you think the focal point should be. That has no room here. Period. It simply does not. I cannot condone someone doing that. Number one, I don't agree with it. Number two, if you're part of my network, part of our network, for that fucking matter. I started it, but when I get this thing up and running, the people who are involved are going to be just as, I'm hoping, just as, invested into this thing as I am. Getting their own promotional content up on that channel. Getting their viewers to go there to use it as a hub so that we can cross-pollinate. It's easier to find the channels who are all associated. You can check us out, see what you think. And if you're part of this with us, and your word can't be trusted, you're going to start calling the credibility of our word into question too. And I can't have that. Any content creator, no matter how big or small, that is interested in joining this thing with us is welcome to talk to me. The door is open. If I feel that you can be trusted, I'd be more than happy, even if I don't agree with your political takes, to bring you into this thing, because we've got to learn how to work the fuck together. We've got to be able even to put our differences aside, find that common ground, work together. We've got to get this thing started at the grassroots movement. That's the only way we're ever going to try to get any real change. I'd be more than happy to. But I cannot have people a part of this that can't just make a video telling the fucking truth. If you're going to be deceptive with your editing, I cannot allow you to be the cancer to harm us all as part of a network. And maybe that's one of the downsides to having a network. But that is what it is. I still think there's more benefits than the negatives to it. So I'm pushing forward. But I want everyone to know, Reed is a friend of mine. When I found out this happened from someone who was a part of this network, I felt it was my job to step in, at the very least, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, maybe this wasn't her doing. Maybe someone else did this clip, sent it to them. She saw it. Dave saw it. And there's just a big misunderstanding here. When it became obvious that was not the point for Stacie, she stated she wanted to leave the network, and I happily obliged her in that. And if she hadn't have stated she wanted to leave the network, but told me this was her doing, she might not have wanted to leave the network, but she would have anyway. I can't have that associated here. Anyone that wants to be low-budget CNN can go be low-budget CNN on their own. You're not going to do it while you're associated in a network that has anything to do with me. And if I were to be part, just so everyone knows how I feel about that type of shit, if I were to be part of a network and there were people doing just that very fucking thing and the people in charge of that network didn't take action on it, I'd leave the fucking network. Just like Jimmy Dore left TYT, I'd leave that motherfucker because I don't want to be associated with it. If you stay a part of something where the people there cannot be trusted, you yourself will be called into question. Ask Jimmy Dore how many times people questioned him because of his association with TYT probably. They said, we can't trust those motherfuckers. You might sound better than them. You might have a message that's better than them, but you're part of that fucked up group who pushed Hillary Clinton. Can we trust you? Wonder what his thoughts on that would be. Guarantee you they're pretty similar to mine. It's best to not stay associated with people who gaslight, or else you might be considered to be a gaslighter yourself. Again, this isn't something I wanted to come out here and do, but because I've started a network, because someone who was part of this network was propagating these things, I feel it's my responsibility to come out here and clear the record and at least give the truth for the people who were involved in being attacked on this side of the equation. Okay, now me and Dave have spoken. Me and Dave are fine. I still intend to, be working with Dave. He's still part of this network. He's always welcome here. As long as we're keeping things honest over here, and that goes for anybody that is a member now or anybody that wants to be a member later on. Keep things honest. I can't tell you what opinion you can and can't have, but at least if you're going to express it, keep the facts you're presenting honest. And I know Reed thinks some of the things that Dave still says about the Libertarian Party and some of that inner circle are not being honest, but that's a whole nother issue. There was a whole nother subject involved there. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I have a respect for both of them, consider them both to be friends. I'm going to leave that squabble to them. They can work that one out. But until I see Dave taking one of Reed's videos and doing with it what Stacie did, I can't hold Dave in the same accountability for that. He's got his opinions. He likes who he likes. It's not my place to tell him who he should like and who he shouldn't. He's a grown man. He can figure that out for himself. I'd like it if we all got back on the same page. Do I see that happening with, Reed and Dave? I don't see it happening, but anything's possible. But I wanted to make everything perfectly clear, just to clear the record on behalf of Reed and his guest. Dave has taken the video he did down. So regardless of what you think, and this goes for anyone watching, about Dave, you got to give the man credit that he at least had, the fortitude to take it down. He still has his opinions, but at least he realizes he was probably referring to a clip that was deceptively edited. And even if he still doesn't like your group or really agree with you that much, he took it down because he doesn't want to be making claims based off of a video that is misleading. So you got to give credit where credit is due there, no matter who you are and what your opinion of Dave is. You got to give the man that much credit, at least. Okay. So I wanted to, again, didn't want to have to do this, but feel that I need to because of the people who were involved. Some were part of this network. Others were friends, I would say, of the network and the Lone Wolf podcast. So I want to clear that record. And if there is a moral to take away from this, do not sacrifice your principles just to try to get a little gain. I don't know if that's what Stacie's intentions were, but it really doesn't matter. And I'm not going to sacrifice my principles just to keep everyone at my network together because we're a happy little family. No. I prefer us to be a good community that can work together here at TFP Network, but that's on you. That's on you. The devotion you show to trying to work together will be reciprocated by me, and I would hope the others here. But dishonesty and deceptive editing, I can't have that. Because when you take your own ship down, if you're tied to the rest of us, you're the 5,000, 50,000 pound anchor that's going to start dragging the rest of us down too. I can't have that. I can't have that. Simply can't. If you want to use those techniques and shoot yourself in the ass in the long run and be questioned as to how much truth you're really for, you do you. But you're going to do it without me. I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be tied to anyone who wants to do that. I have too much pride in being a man of my own word and being someone that I would hope others can trust to allow myself to be associated with people who complain about the things mainstream media does, but then replicates their techniques when it benefits their message. Can't have that. So, let me know what you guys think of this situation. I would say hit the thumbs up button, but what is there really to like about this? There ain't nothing good about this situation. Nothing. This is only a video I made just to clear the air. Only to clear the air. And hopefully I can put this now behind us. When I get stabilized, I get the new studio finished, TFP promotional content will start coming out again. I will be looking for more people at that point to try to join on board with us here. See if we can't really get this ball rolling, and see what happens at that point. I do have an interview coming up not too far off with another gentleman that I've interacted some with in the past. See if we can't get this thing set up. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hope everyone's doing well out there. As you can tell, I sound a little under the weather. This massive snow storm that we got, snow and ice here in South Carolina. I had to get out there, do a lot of shoveling, had to breathe in a lot of really freezing cold air, and it has just got my sinuses jacked. So that's why I sound more nasally and under the weather, I suppose. But again, hope everyone's doing well. If you're in this neck of the woods, be careful. Looks like we might have a 2.0 coming in on Friday. So I hope everyone's doing well. Be safe out there. Take care, everyone.